again, that's just another usability thing that the staff members have by just simply going to Actions and adding notes. Now that we have added that note, let's go over here to the related list, and let's take a look here. So this is the note. You'll notice that I can add a new action or a new note, but also I can view all notes. So this is a nice feature because in previous versions, I would have to go through these line item by line item. Now here, let's just add a note real quickly. So we're going to call this note number 2, and we'll add that. So now we should have, it's going to take just a second here for this to refresh. We've got a couple of notes that have been added, and with that, if I want to view all notes at one time, there they are, and it's so there's our first note, time and date with information, and here's our second note. And notice that the most recent note is at the top of this list. So again, I think this is functionality that I think that every service desk agent and even management staff that are going through incidents, they can absolutely use this and it be beneficial. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to cover here is the templates. So in this scenario, let's say that Peter Campbell again is having an issue, and I wanted to I wanted to assign a template. Well, I can do that. So here's my template list, and let's say I've got a template for, let's use this this stock trader failure. Well, notice that as soon as I selected that template, my category is populated, my description is populated, and any of the other values that my template has been defined. Again, the change here, and this may seem obvious for those of you that have never seen this before or that have not had to use the product, but previously it didn't populate the fields. Now, when you select that template, it populates it. So now you know there's only a handful of fields. You can see here that the urgency is high, the impact is high. If I needed to adjust these, maybe it's not necessarily a high impact, but a low impact or a medium impact, I can make that adjustment right here before I actually save the record. Okay, so the ability to apply the template immediately, again, another one of my favorites for this particular release. We also have the manifest capability. So while we're looking at this particular incident, and as a matter of fact, I'm just going to, let's switch our view here. So I want to see all of my service requests, and the reason I'm doing this is because my service requests will typically have a number of tasks associated with them, right? So if I look at this particular record here, and then if I go into my agent tools, I can select the incident manifest, and at that point I can see any and all of the incidents that are associated to that incident. So this manifest capability, again, was already in release management. We introduced that to incident. We've introduced it to problem as well as change. And quite frankly, they all work the same. It's going to be the very same user interface. So at this point, I can select the order in which I want these different tasks or multiple change records or what have you to be displayed and to work. So I can change the order. At the same time, when I am working with this particular task, order number 2, I may want to update the status value of the parent incident. So here is where I can change that to pending or waiting for or whatever status it is that you may want to use. So at this point, when I get to this incident number, task number 258 that was ordered number 2 of all of the tasks associated with this incident, it's going to update the status value to accepted for that parent record. And so if we save that, that'll be available. Notice that we do have the option of printing this off. we can export this information, and if we select the refresh, that will change the sort order on those records as well. Okay. All right. Well, with that, that's the manifest. We talked about the incident matching enhancements as well as the ability to close linked incidents. So if we go back to those incidents, that incident that we had saw earlier, and where we had actually linked a few incidents to it, when we get ready to close this incident, this only works with a close, not the quick close, but when we close that incident, you'll notice that there is now a new checkbox available to you, and that is to close the linked incidents. So you now can do that in addition to closing any task that may be associated to that record. So that's also a nice enhancement and really dovetails into that conversation about related incidents. Okay, continuing on, another feature that we have right from the console or right from the record is not only can we search the knowledge base, but you'll notice now we have the ability to create a knowledge article. So from this incident, if I wanted to create a knowledge article, by selecting that, I can title it. What type of knowledge article is it? Is this a how-to or a problem solution? And then I can simply create that. And then so that prevents me from having to go directly to the knowledge management module and then accessing this form. It launches the form and it's pre-populated with the information that we're seeing here. So that's also a very nice enhancement in Summer 13. So I was glad to see that, something that I felt was pretty obviously missing in previous versions. So, some of these little things, they may not be huge features, but they certainly will speed up the process of registering incidents and how you handle incidents. And so some of these things I think may be worthy of giving the upgrade a serious consideration if you haven't done so already. I know that some of you are on older versions of Remedyforce for various reasons, just didn't want to, it was working just fine and you're happy with that. That's fine. When BMC contacts you for an upgrade, they will upgrade you no matter what version you're on. They ideally want everybody on the most current version, but again, for various reasons, we know that's not always possible or not always the case. So again, I would also, if you're maybe new to Remedyforce and looking at it for the first time, do note that BMC handles all of the upgrades for you. It's not something that you have to pay a consulting firm like RightStar to do your upgrade for you. That's very different than the world of Service Desk Express. I saw that there were a number of SD customers on the phone today. So upgrades are all part of your contract that you have with BMC. In addition to this capability of adding a knowledge article from here, we also have the ability to link knowledge articles to a CI record in the CMDB. And so as we look here, go to a CI record, and I'm just going to pull up any of these randomly. But one of the options that you'll see is in the relationships is for the CI. So in the details, here if we look at the details, actually I said relationships, but it's actually the details. At that point you can see that there are no knowledge articles linked to this item, but if I click on the knowledge articles tab, I can then link knowledge article and choose, of the different knowledge articles and link that to this CI. So as I'm looking at the CI, I can see the CI, I can see the knowledge articles that pertain to that particular asset or asset type, which is quite nice. Okay. It looks like I'm running probably a little bit long. I apologize. Maybe I got a little bit carried away on some of the detail of this information, but If we go look at some of the other capabilities real quickly here, let's go back to the Remedyforce administration. We're just about done anyway. So when we talk about the survey module, first of all, when we look at administration, we have the application settings, and from here we have surveys, and so this is where we can make some configurations. Now, there are a few steps that you've got to take to set up the surveys. We really don't have enough time to go through all of that, but do note that we have a couple of options here. We can allow multiple responses to a survey, to a link survey. If the record is reopened, we can delete the previous submitted survey, which might make sense, right? And at that point, if they have, they may have said that it, didn't give you the best feedback, or maybe they falsely gave you positive feedback when it really should have been negative feedback, that type of thing. So you do have that option of deleting that if it's the incident's reopened. Here we can see that as far as modifying the surveys, you'd actually do that at the object level by adding a field to the object, which is not a big thing, but just note that that's more or less the process that you'd follow. And real quickly here, if we look, this is an example of one of those incident surveys. So in terms of the types of fields that you have and the content and the values, that is all up to you. And then again, the value here is that at the end of the day, you're going to be able to report against all of this data that's in that survey and aggregate it and dissect it any way that you wish. And again, this survey is typically initiated from an outbound email notification. So if I launch my email here, we can see that this is an example where when I close the incident, this was the information, and then I can just simply click here to launch that survey and begin the survey process.